Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the answers from the last mystery object video, which was 5 days ago yesterday. So I've given you 5 days. No one got all 10. There were some good guesses, and firstly, congratulations to Jeff T, who I don't think got any right but had the funniest answers. So I'm actually going to send you a sticker, Jeff. So message me your details and we'll get something sorted out. So I've got the items on the counter here. We'll go through them one at a time. I'll tell you what they are and how they work, if I can work it out. And I've got a couple of names to mention of the guys that did well. So bit of fun. No one got them all right. Maybe I better make them easier next time. Another thing we might do next time is try and be a little more varied on the objects, because as A Fineliner pointed out, quite a lot of these are rural or country related or farming related, and we are in a rural area here, so I guess that stands to reason. I get a lot of farm stuff out of sheds, but yes, if you haven't grown up in a farming area, it's probably a bit difficult to get some of them. Let's start with this one. It was number 1. I'm going to peel the stickers off, and I probably could have left these on because I don't mind people Googling, and the stickers, if I can get off. Here's the box for these stickers, says easily removable. That's a matter of opinion. I don't mind people Googling, so maybe you could have Googled Titan, and this side shows the manufacturer, which is Reed's. A nice old piece of cast iron, this, and of course on the area where I put the blue tack, which is going to stick better than I wanted it to. Isn't that one of movie's laws? If you wanted it to fall off, it would stick well, and if you didn't want it to fall off, it would fall off the moment you turned your back. It actually says wire mender. So this is part of a wire strainer assembly. It is quite early, as I pointed out in the first video. The patent date is 1887. Remembering that the patent date isn't necessarily the age of this item, it's when the patent was first registered. So they may have been made for 20 or 30 years. But anyway, it had a spool that clipped in these two hooks here and worked on a ratchet against this spring steel, and then a handle so that you would actually ratchet and it would wind the wire in. This end, of course, just clamps the other end of the wire. So part of an early wire strainer. They're pretty common, but they're a beautiful piece of old metal. I'm going to have to peel that blue tack off when I have a moment. But there you go, a wire strainer. A few people worked that out, so that's good. Now, object 2, I don't think anyone got at all, and it is a pretty obscure piece. It's 1960s or perhaps early 70s. We'll peel the stickers off this as well. Hopefully they come off better. Hopefully I don't pull the actual name stickers off. It says push to demag... Can you finish the word? Demagnetize. So it's a demagnetizer, and it's used for the heads on reel-to-reel tape players, probably on early, or yeah, I guess reel-to-reel tape players is probably the thing. And later in the 70s we had cassette tapes. Perhaps it worked on 8-track tapes as well, but the heads that read the magnetic tape need to be not magnetized, or you get a lot of background noise, and somehow this managed to demagnetize the heads. So quite a specific piece of equipment there. In the box I got with it was the instructions, and under how to use, I know how it works, it says magnetic head demagnetizer enables the magnetic condition of a recording head to be carried through a series of hysteresis loops of ever-diminishing size, leaving the head substantially free of permanent magnetism. Didn't we all need to know that? I had this in the shop for $10. It hasn't sold as yet, but I think someone that's into the vintage hi-fi gear would probably be interested. So no one got that one. I'm not surprised. The next one, I think a few people got this, and I don't have an item to show you exactly how it works with me, but it is simply a removable saucepan handle. I think it went that way, and the saucepan had a little bracket which you slip that under. Maybe it went that way. No, I think it went that way. And you could then put your saucepan on the stove, unhook the handle, and probably move another saucepan as well. So that's all it is. 1950s, I think, thereabouts, Bakelite, cast aluminium, from the kitchen, a saucepan handle. So a few people got that. The next one I had a few people get as well. And if you've ever had an old extension table in a house or in one of your grandparents' houses, this is the crank handle for unwinding the table, enabling you to fit an extra leaf or two. Some tables even had 3 leaves to make it a much longer table, specifically like for larger gatherings, Christmas, that sort of thing. When you didn't need the table so big, you took the leaves out, you wound the table up, and the 2 sides came in and they located on dowels, and you made yourself a smaller table. So that's an original early 1900s, perhaps 1920s extension table crank handle. A few people got that, as I mentioned. The next one, a lot of people got this, and there are YouTube videos showing how to use it. I have accepted when people have guessed that it was a bull leading tongs or pliers, and you actually clamp that part, the little balls part, into the nose of the bull. So in each nostril, doesn't squash the tissue completely, but it holds the bull such that he will pretty well do as he's told. It brings tears to my eyes just thinking about one of these. They weren't, the holes at the end were to put a rope through. They weren't necessarily used to lead the bull, and someone pointed out, I think it was Jim Bond pointed out, that it's not specifically for leading a bull because you don't have a lot of leverage on this. And if he was going to throw his weight around, he would probably damage his nose, but also damage you. It's more for steering the bull or cattle or cows' heads. Say if they're in a crush and you need to drench them, the animal can't move, but you can at least put its head in the direction where you need to. So that's what they're for cattle, for basically clamping their nose. The next one a few people got, and it's another fencing related tool, another farming one. They are a Walker's wire tensioner, and I mentioned in the first video that you often find them in groups because you quite often had one of these on each wire. So when you had plain wire fences, there was a hole through the post, the wire came through the hole into this center hole, and then you could put a rod of steel here and basically crank it, and you winch the wire tight to tension it. So some of them actually come embossed with Walkers on them. This is a plain one. I sell them for $5 each. They're quite early, and they're just simply a wire tensioner. The next one I think nearly everyone got, and it is indeed a weight from a clock, more precisely a Cuckoo clock. There was always 2, and to wind the clock you didn't have a key. You actually pulled the chain, which pulled the weight to the top, and then gradually overnight the weight goes down, drives the clock until it gets to the floor, because usually the chains were pretty long, and then you'd have to pull it up to the top again. So it's a cast iron weight from a Cuckoo clock. The next one's another cast iron piece, and a few got this as well. It's a lifting tool for a wood stove, and I have a hot plate here from a wood stove, and the hook allows you to lift the hot plate from the center of the stove and access it for whatever reason while it's hot. And for those that were wondering, I believe it's an IXL stove that they suit. The next item, again a few got, and it is simply a screwdriver, but it's a screwdriver for a shearer's handpiece. So it's specifically designed for undoing the large screws that hold the comb on. I don't have a comb on this handpiece, so any shearers or anyone that's had anything to do with shearing sheds would recognise that. I think a lot of them, I've seen them branded Wolseley and Lister, I think. So they must have been made by a few companies, but that's what that one is, a shearer's handpiece screwdriver. And the very last item I thought was the hardest of the lot, and we did have one person get it. Shane got it, and he called it, though, a codswallop. Now, I have heard them called that before. I'm not sure if that's exactly the meaning of codswallop. If you search the etymology of the phrase, it has been debunked actually that it suited these old bottles. And let me show you the bottle. That bottle with the marble in it is known as a cod bottle. It was invented by a guy in England known as Hiram Cod around about 1878, 1880, somewhere around about then. And the marble in them held the pressure in. It was actually the stopper, and it sealed against a rubber ring around the top there, and because the bottles were pressurized, the marble stayed at the top. The only way to open the bottle was to push the marble in. The handheld ones I've seen, which, you know, Shane was suggesting it's the cod and you wallop it, perhaps, but I don't know that that's the exact meaning. I did accept his answer though. But this one here actually mounts on the back of a shop counter on that 45-degree angle. So the shopkeeper, if you wanted your bottle of lemonade or whatever fizzy drink, if you wanted it open, they could push it up hard against that stopper and it releases the pressure. The marble drops down into the chamber and you have an opened bottle. So it's actually, yes, a cod bottle opener. Quite rare. The handheld ones I've seen, this is the only one I've ever seen that's designed to mount on the back of a shop counter or somewhere where it's permanently mounted and you can push the bottle up to it. So there we go. So as I said, I thought this was the hardest, but Shane actually got it essentially. He knew what it was, and the only one that nobody got was the tape head demagnetizer. So now for the business part of this video, the coveted Ultimate Recycler sticker. The winner, well, let me mention a couple of others first. We had Lucas's stuff got 6 out of 10 on his first guess, and Wazoo Cafe got 6 as well. So well done, John, there. Sean Knight got 7. And then Lucas's stuff came back with 2 more corrections to his first list and ended up with 8 out of 10. So well done to Lucas. Send me a message or comment and get your details to me somehow. You can email. I'll send you out a sticker. I'll also send one out to Jeff, as I mentioned. Thanks everyone for their guesses. Thanks for having a bit of fun. I'll come up with another lot of these mystery objects soon, and as I said, I'll try not to make them so farm orientated, but it's just that I do a lot of farm sheds and there's a lot of weird things in farm sheds. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.